We started our Pokemon business in November last year. And since then, I've sold thousands of cards through online sales, live streaming, and vending in person. And now I'm in the process of opening up our brick and mortar store. But before all that, I made a lot of mistakes. Some of them slowed us down, some of them cost us money, and some of them I still catch myself doing now. This video isn't about acting like I've got it all figured out. It's just about showing you the stuff that no one really talks about when starting a Pokemon card business. So whether you're just starting out or you're a few months in and still trying to find your feet, hopefully hearing what I've learned the hard way will help you avoid some of the same traps. If you're into videos like this, honest, behind the scenes Pokemon business content, then feel free to subscribe. I've got loads more content like this on the way as we grow the shop, the streams, and everything in between. All right, mistake number one is that you are wasting your time. I had this moment recently where I sat down on my desk, starting to write my to-do list for the day, and I had a YouTube video to film and edit, a Whatnot stream to prep for in the evening, a pile of graded cards that I completely forgot about that needed listing on eBay, shop renovations to plan, tax invoices to pay. And then to top it all off, I had a call in the evening booked about vending at an upcoming show. It's like I wasn't running a business. It's like I'm spinning loads of plates at once and hoping that none of them are going to hit me in the head. I still struggle with this one. And in this industry, I think it's honestly one of the most common ways to sabotage your own business. You've got this never ending list of ideas and opportunities. And especially in the early days, you feel like you have to say yes to absolutely everything. You don't want to miss out on an event or an opportunity to make money on something else. But in doing so, your focus gets so diluted that nothing moves as fast as they probably should be. It's like trying to water 10 plants at once, but you only have one tiny cup of water. You give each of the 10 plants a tiny splash, but none of them get enough that they actually grow. But instead, if you picked 2 or 3 of the plants and really focused on those, over time, you'd see them thrive way faster. The worst part is just being constantly busy, but not necessarily productive. Most of the time, I'd try hammering through every single task I had to do in one day, only to end the day feeling completely exhausted and then realizing nothing meaningful got done in the first place. So eventually, and I'm still learning this now, I had to zoom out and figure what was actually working for the business. For me, what that looked like was making YouTube content for you guys, opening the shop, and of course, Whatnot streaming. Whatnot was and still is where the bulk of our revenue comes from, so naturally that needed to stay. So now I focus on planning in regular streams and keeping up appearances and a schedule over there. Then I've got the YouTube. Obviously, a lot of you know me from here, and also a lot of you come and join us over on Whatnot for the streams as well. So it's a really important part of the whole ecosystem. If you want to join us over on Whatnot and see some of the streams for yourself, you can scan this QR code up here or click the link in the description and you'll get yourself £10 free to spend on your very first purchase. Or just come and chat to us. You haven't got to buy anything. It's just nice to see new faces in the stream. And of course, the brick and mortar store is obviously a really big focus for us now too. Especially in the early days, that's going to take a massive amount of focus. It already is, but it is something that I'm really excited about. Everything else like eBay, TikTok, vending at shows, it's not that they're necessarily bad ideas, but these things just didn't propel us forward at the rate that the other things were doing. So again, going back to the plants, I'd rather water the shop, Whatnot, and YouTube and see those grow exponentially over time, as opposed to trying to water everything and seeing no growth anywhere. I totally get it too. If you're early on, definitely experiment with as many things as you can just to see what sticks. You won't know what works for your business without trying them first. So you might end up having a completely different outlook to me with your business. You might benefit from short form content and vending at shows, for example. But as soon as something starts to gain traction, let it grow and don't suffocate it by chasing the next shiny thing. Focus isn't about doing less. It's about doing fewer things better. And it's one of the hardest but most important things that I've learned over the last year. Okay, next up is buying things and not selling them. Now, this might sound obvious, but we made this mistake constantly and we still kind of do sometimes. It's so easy as a new business to buy inventory that is technically a good deal, but you never actually shift it. And then your money isn't in your bank anymore. It's tied up in sealed product that people really don't want, or a really niche product that only a really specific buyer would be after. Early on, we did this constantly. Like we would see graded cards for slightly less than market, or even in some cases, way lower than market. We'd buy it and be like, wow, we got such a good deal on that, only for it to then sit there because we didn't have anyone that actually wanted to buy it. It's the same with investments too. Sometimes you might invest a load into a sealed product to hold it for the future, but the whole time it's sat there on the shelf, that money that you spent on that product could have been working for you in the meantime, but instead it's now tied up, sat there collecting dust. So you end up building this stash of good investments, but none of it is actually liquid. Your cash is locked up in an inventory with no way out. You've created your own little Pokemon bank and you can't withdraw anything from it. It's like locking your money in a room with a timer on the door. Eventually the timer is going to run out and your money is doubled, but until then, you can't touch it. Meanwhile, someone else with the same amount of money has flipped products over and over by buying things that they know sell quickly. That money might have made them 50 or £100 profit 3 or 4 times before your door even opened. And the truth that no one tells you is profit isn't profit until the item's actually sold. I don't care if you've got a card that you bought for 40% of last sold. Until you've sold it, it's not doing anything for you. And you've got a bunch of cards that you think will eventually go up, but you've got no idea how or when to sell them. You don't really have a business, you're kind of just collecting. At one point, we were sat on so much sealed product that we bought at a really good price, but we had no way of moving them. Either we didn't have the platform to list them, or we were just busy working on other things. And that's when I learned the concept of the velocity of money. I saw Phoenix Resale, another really great YouTuber, by the way, you should definitely go and watch him. I saw him say, buy low, sell fast. Basically, how can we turn $1 into more dollars? If I buy a slab for £400 and it sits in a drawer for 6 months before I flip it for £500, I've made £100, sure. But if I took the same £400 and I bought something that sold within 3 days for £450 and then did that again and again, I'd end up with way more than £100 in the same 6-month window. It's not always about the margin that you're making and getting the biggest margin you can. It's actually about how quickly you can make that margin too. So now before we buy anything, whether it's singles, sealed products, slabs, we ask ourselves, how will this sell and how fast? If the answer is, I don't know, or eventually, we tend to just leave it, because right now, if it's not liquid, it's just a liability. Especially in a business where cash flow is so important, you have to buy with intention. You can't just buy things and hope one day someone will buy it. Now, the next mistake is not making profit for yourself. This one's kind of embarrassing to admit, and honestly, it still catches me out nowadays, but we had this idea early on that every single penny had to go back into the business. On paper, this kind of sounds like the smartest thing to do, right? You want to reinvest everything you can to keep the momentum going, to flip the stock you buy and repeat, repeat, repeat. But in reality, you're just running on this hamster wheel and you're never seeing the rewards of it. We'd plan this really big Whatnot stream or this really big purchase and we'd make a really decent amount of money, but then we'd immediately go out and put it all back into stock again. A new case of product here, some graded cards here, and then at the end of the month, we'd be left scratching our heads like, where's all of our money gone? And this is one of those things I think not a lot of people are talking about when you watch those flashy business videos where you see people flexing these huge sales numbers. You don't realize quite how easy it is to look like you're absolutely crushing it. But behind closed doors, you're living off beans on toast and you're stressed because you haven't got any money to pay your own bills. For a while, we were just in this loop where we were like, we'll take profit for ourselves next month. Let's just reinvest a bit more this time and then get money for then. And spoiler, we didn't. The thing is, if you don't build profit into your system as early as possible, it won't magically appear later. And I think a lot of us fall into this trap because we're so scared of slowing down the momentum. Like if we take a couple of £100 out of the business when we've made a load of profit and it's just sat there, we're somehow jeopardizing the business by taking that away from it. But honestly, a business that can't afford to pay you is not really a business. It's just a really stressful hobby with a checkout button on it. If you're a bit more disciplined and after each big sales month, you break the money down, some goes to cover future stock, some goes into a float for cash flow, and then some of it gets moved into the profit pot that we just don't touch. That small shift really changed quite a lot for us. You stop constantly feeling like you're chasing your own tail. You start building a buffer and you stop wondering where on earth all your money has gone. So definitely, if you're just starting out, or even if you've been running for a while and you feel like your bank balance just never grows, ask yourself, are you reinvesting or are you just running in circles? Now, the next mistake was going all in too early. Now, this is a mistake that I feel like everyone gets burned with at least once. You see a new set coming out and the hype is crazy. Everyone's talking about it on YouTube. People are talking about the new SIRs and art rares on Instagram, and it's looking like it's going to be an absolutely massive set. So what do? Well, you by any means necessary, get hold of the latest set, and you don't just dip your toes in, you dive headfirst into it. You buy cases and cases and packs and packs. And we have done this a few more times than I'd like to admit. I remember with Journey Together, everyone everyone was super excited about it because it came right after the hype of Prismatic Evolutions. It brought back trainer Pokemon cards. Some of the artwork was so nice and everything on paper looked like it was going to be a massive set. We stacked up so many packs and we ran a stream basically around launch day, and to be fair, we basically sold out, which of course was so good. Luckily around then we were so preoccupied with other streams that we didn't even think to reinvest in the set anymore. And looking back at it, thank God we didn't. That set fell off a cliff, which I don't think I agree with, by the way. I do think it is quite a cool set, but the demand for it just dried up so fast. People stopped caring and the price dropped so quick on it. And if we did put more money into more stock, I think we would have had quite a hard time actually shifting it as well. Probably the worst time we'd actually been caught by it was when Glory of Team Rocket came out in Japan. We invested a lot into cases and we paid so much per box for it as well, only for the packs to not really sell and whatnot. And even worse, the price per box in the market just dropped so severely in the space of a week. We were left with loads of boxes. I mean, cases that we had to sell at a loss. It's the classic trap of just seeing something perform really well and assuming that it's going to do that every single time. And the problem is when you go too deep into something like that, you again mess up your cash flow and suddenly you're left tied up in all of these boxes that you can't shift, and now you can't use that money to buy the things that are actually selling. So now we just try and test the waters where possible. Instead of going all in on day one, we buy a really small amount just to see how it works. We try a smaller stream, and then if that goes well, we slowly increase the size of the streams until it starts to pay off. If it doesn't work out, then we're not that out of pocket, if that makes sense. We did the same thing with our mystery packs, for example. In the first run, we only did 100 of them and you guys loved them. So when we came around to doing them again the next time, it gave us the confidence to make more of them. And yeah, we just sold out again. We need to make more of them. You guys keep asking. I'm getting on it, I'm doing it. It's not about being cautious for the sake of it, but more just protecting your business's oxygen supply, I suppose. Cash flow is the oxygen in this niche, and nothing suffocates a business faster than 10 cases of Glory of Team Rocket that you bought for £150 a box. Trust me. So start light, prove the demand, and then scale. Buying stock is always the easy part. Even when it's really hard to get, selling it is the hard part. And finally, the last mistake of the video is blending in. When you're just starting out, it's so easy to spend all your time watching what everyone else is doing. And honestly, why wouldn't you? If you see someone smashing it on Whatnot or YouTube or Shopify, for example, of course you want to look at how they run their business, how they package their orders, what content do they post, or how their shop looks. They're clearly doing something right and you want to do that as well. Maybe part of you just thinks that's how it's supposed to be done. And to be fair, it's not wrong to take inspiration from people who are where you want to be. But without realizing it, you're slowly falling into the trap of if they're doing it, it must be working. The problem is if someone's already doing something well, why would they choose to buy from you? In this space especially, the Pokemon world is extremely crowded. Everyone is streaming, everyone's got cards for sale, and everyone is making content. So the only way to stand out from the crowd and survive long term is to carve something out that feels even slightly different. Here's a concept I picked up from Rory Sutherland. It's called reverse benchmarking, and the idea is brilliant. It totally changed how I think about differentiating in business. An owner of a Michelin star restaurant didn't study what competitors did well, but instead they looked at what they did poorly. At the restaurants he visited, the food was top tier, the service was seamless, but the coffee was really dull and the beer drinkers felt really overlooked. So at his restaurant, he doubled down on gourmet coffee options, a really niche beer selection, better presentation, and that's where he stood out. So we took this lesson in our own niche. So instead of copying what everyone else did, we asked, what are the small pain points people are complaining about and how could we solve them better? Some of the best performing things we've ever done for this business came from leaning into stuff that felt like it was a bit of a risk. Like again, the mystery packs, every time we run them on Whatnot, the viewers jump so high and everyone in the chat has a good time. They're genuinely some of our best performing streams. Most businesses or streams get lost doing the same stuff. Whatnot especially, it'll be like surprise set, surprise set, surprise set, singles, breaks, breaks, breaks. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that, but when someone lands on your stream for the first time and they see something they haven't seen before, even if it's just slightly different from someone else, you give them a reason to pay attention to you. It doesn't even have to be about what you're selling. It could be your content. It could be the tone of your stream, the way your in-person store looks, how you write your listings. It could even be how you respond to customers. A bit of a weird example, but go look at the Wendy's Twitter account, for example. They've become known for stirring the pot and being rude to people online. Not that I'm saying you should do that, but you get the idea. Another one as well is Evo Stock. He's such a great guy, but his Instagram content and his YouTube content, the way he does vending and makes vendor POVs, I actually want to watch them. I can't lie, vendor POV videos I've got so bored of. Like, I don't even really like doing them myself just because it feels like it's the same content over and over again and it's so repetitive. But I watch every single one of his videos because he's a funny guy. Like, they actually are entertaining to watch. They're different. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but try painting the wheel a different color. In a sea of streamers and businesses, the most dangerous thing you can be is forgettable. So if you're trying to make your business into more than a part-time thing, maybe it's time to just push the boat out a little bit. By the way, if you're serious about starting or scaling your Pokemon business, I run a private Discord where I basically share everything I've learned, from what stock I'm buying to answering questions about how we run our streams. It's built for people who actually want to make this into something sustainable, and we're growing a super helpful community in there already. Plus, I also offer one-to-one help in there as well. If you want to join, you can do so by becoming a member of the channel. The link is in the description. And if you're completely stuck and you have no idea where to even start with any of this, you should watch the video up here. It is a complete comprehensive guide on how to start your very own Pokemon business and kickstart your journey in the TCG space.